The latest episode of Moon Knight just dropped, so here are my thoughts. So we're halfway into the series now, and overall I would say this is my favourite Marvel Disney show so far. So what I've liked about this show so far is how they've structured the episodes. So episode 1, we just got to spend time with Stephen, just understanding what was happening. Episode 2, we saw a bit more of Mark and understand his background a bit. And in this episode, we got to spend a lot more time with Mark, so I've liked how they structured the episode so far. The episode starts off with Layla going to Egypt, and we also finding out that her father died and got murdered. And whilst we're in Egypt, we see Arthur looking for Amit, and also realising that Mark's after him. And then we get to see Mark in a fight scene, and I think this is the first time we've actually seen Mark in a fight. And you can tell the difference in between the attitude of Mark and Stephen, especially like when he has the knife to the guy's throat, and then you can see Stephen just telling him not to do it, not to go through with it. And then we get that glitchy scene like we did in the first episode. However, this time it was Stephen trying to go home, trying to get back to the airport to London. During this episode, we got to see a lot more of Khonshu, and I think it really worked well as we got to see him interacting with both Stephen and Mark. So Khonshu sends Mark to the Pyramid of Giza, where he meets with the avatar for Hathor, the god of love and music. And while they're there, the gods are talking to Khonshu, and it's interesting as you get to hear them say how the avatars are just there to observe and are not really there to interfere. And as we know, Khonshu's been interfering with Mark and Stephen as well. As we get towards the end, we get to see Mark and Layla team up again, and this is my favourite part as we get to see Mark realise that he actually needs Stephen, and that if they're gonna be successful, he's gonna have to incorporate Stephen into it, but knowing that he's gonna have to give the body to him, and he doesn't know if he's gonna come back. So I like how that dynamic worked. And we get to see Mark summon Moon Knight again, and also we get to see Stephen with Mr. Knight. And from last week, I saw not a lot, but some people complaining about they didn't like the Mr. Knight character, as they thought he was too comedical and that he doesn't really fit the character in the comics. And for me personally, I haven't read the comic, so I don't know his comic character. I don't know how he acts in the comics compared to how he's acting in the show. So I can see why they would be upset if he's a bit too comedical, because he can be. But for me right now, it's working. I want to see how they deal with the character later on in the show. As also, he was only there for like a couple seconds a day, and in those seconds, he was just there for comic relief just to get Moon Knight back again. So once Mark realises that he actually needs Stephen, it's good to see that he actually lets him in, knowing that he can't do it by himself, he needs him to do it. And also nice to see Khonshu and Stephen working together, as before they referred to each other as parasites, and now the fact that they're working together to defeat Arthur is it worked quite well. And not really sacrificing, but Khonshu allowing himself to get turned into stones by the god, so that they're able to defeat Amit. That worked really well for me. And lastly, we see Arthur with Khonshu talking in the pyramid, and it'll be interesting to see how their relationship ends up, as we know Arthur was Khonshu's avatar before, and he stated to him that he's the reason that drove him to do what he's doing. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out in the last couple of episodes. So thank you for watching. Tell me your thoughts in the comments,